Have you ever met up with old friends that you hadn't seen in a very, very long time, and during the course of conversation you realized although you knew them, they weren't quite what you remembered? Something I want to get into, so let's get to it. How you doing, guys? I moved away from my hometown many, many, many years ago. I always had this bug that I just wanted to move away and start a whole new life somewhere else. So I did. No fanfare or any goodbyes. I just up and left one day. It was about 10 years had gone by when I had gotten a letter from home that my younger brother was getting married and if I would fly up. And at this point in time, I hadn't seen my family in a very long time, so I said, yeah, I'll be up. It was funny. Now, I was looking forward to going up. I was looking forward to seeing my family and see how everybody was until I got there. Now, I had gotten off the plane. My family had come to the airport to pick me up, and we're all sitting there saying our hellos, got back to the house. And the funny thing was that when we got through the hellos and all the reminiscing, there was this almost dead silence for a few minutes where no one knew what to say. I just kind of sat back and I'm looking at everybody, and although they were the same people, they had gotten older, and the conversation with them was pretty much the same as it always was. It seemed somewhat different. I wasn't off that plane for 3 hours before I was already looking at the calendar, counting the days to go back. I didn't say a whole lot through the 3 weeks that I was there. And looking back, I probably should have gone up there for just 1 week. And funny, I haven't been up there since. I stayed in my family's house. Now, this is a house I grew up in and spent most of my young life there. But I found myself walking on eggshells. Although it was the house I grew up in, it wasn't a home anymore. It just was not the same. And I was feeling extremely uncomfortable. I think this was the one reason I opted not to look up old friends, because I started thinking to myself, now there was a lot of friends that I wanted to look up, but so many years had gone by. They'd gone their direction, I went mine. And I probably wouldn't be the same person that they remembered back in the 70s and 80s, and they wouldn't be the same person. So I opted just to leave it be, leave the memories be, didn't want to ruin them. As I was looking at my family, and although they were exactly as I remembered, I was starting to see little differences, things that I had never noticed when I was younger. I was always under the impression that my family was very tight-knit, very close, but looking back and after seeing them, we weren't very close at all. As a matter of fact, like I said, I haven't been back since. I just have no desire to ever go back there. And my brother's wedding, which should have been a very fun wedding, and it actually was, I was very, very quiet, kind of kept to myself. And it was weeks when I got back before I started acting normal again. And I just thought to myself, there is no way I could ever go there again. It had taken its toll on me, and I wasn't quite sure why. Jehovah's Witnesses on April 1st. When many of you start going back to the kingdom halls, I'm beginning to wonder how many of you will feel the same way. When you get away from something for a certain amount of time, and it doesn't have to be excessively long, and you get away from what you used to consider the normal, you start thinking differently. You start seeing things totally differently. And what you used to be accustomed to is no longer home. And many of you will go back to the meetings, and it will be exactly as you remembered, but there'll be slight differences, much like when I went home. I was looking at my hometown, was looking at my house, and although many things were the same, many things were very, very different. And I'm just wondering how many of Jehovah's Witnesses, when they do go back to the meetings, just won't like it. This is not what I remembered. And yet it is. And I'm just wondering how many of them, little by little, will start filtering away. And they realize that they no longer fit in. Just something I wanted to bring up, guys. You guys have a good day. I'll be talking to you soon.